Have you ever hesitated when an opportunity arises? You know, that moment where you're on the verge of stepping into something you really want to do, but you just check yourself, take a beat, hold yourself back because doubt and caution have maybe crept in slightly. If you've ever felt that twinge of disappointment when you decide, yeah, it's safe, I'm going to put myself forwards here, I'm going to do this thing, and then you hear the words, oh no, don't worry, we've got everyone we need. You'll know the pain of the sensitive pause. You see, for a lot of highly sensitive people, naturally wired to take that moment, to take that beat, to pause before plunging into action. This survival system stops to observe, takes in the information, processes the data from the world around us to ensure that our surroundings and our place within that and the thing that we're about to do are kind of safe to proceed with. We might want to watch other people do it first or gather more information to make sure that we're going to do it correctly when we have our turn. And there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, it's this sensitivity that allows us to enjoy and excel in life in deep and creative ways. There's a reason it's survived with our species for such a long time as a process that's part of us. It's a successful survival instinct. But in a society that is often skewed towards quick action and risk-taking, it can also mean that highly sensitive people are too late to the proverbial party and the world responds, don't worry, thanks for coming, but we're full. There's also the truth that that survival instinct kicks in when there really isn't much at stake. And so it's recognising, when is that helpful and when is it a hindrance? It's fine, go ahead. Andy doesn't want to come. What? I didn't say that. Have you ever been in that position? Maybe you're a bit like me, not very good at communicating the meaning of your pauses. Maybe reluctance is construed as searching for a way to say no rather than working out if you want to say yes or working out how you want to say yes. Then by the time that you've filtered and processed all those necessary thoughts and feelings and sensory data, everyone else is halfway up the road. They've gone or you've missed the opportunity completely because they didn't think you were coming. Also, I think the highly sensitive pause is a very useful thing, not just for us as individuals, but for the world more widely. Our bias towards speed, impulsivity and quick results can take us in directions that are not very good for us, they're not very good for our societies, they're not very good for the planet, and they take us there very, very quickly. The words, don't worry, we've got everyone we need, suddenly take on a different significance because no, you don't, you really don't. There are no deep processes and sensitive souls there. Everyone who is with you is just very fast at reacting. When we don't make space for those who pause before saying yes, we don't end up with the best people in the right places. We just get the quickest and the most reactive people in every place. And although they might put themselves forward and believe themselves to be so, they're not always the people who are best suited for the role or the opportunity or the job that they're putting themselves into. If we are in that kind of society and we do feel that kind of disappointment of missing out on things that matter to us, we can play with this process a bit, become aware of how we engage with it and relate to it. Maybe there is a quick step that allows the door to stay open while your nervous system catches up with the fact that you've said yes. Often you can use the past as a gauge for whether or not you're going to take an opportunity in the present. It's like, yeah, I know I've done that sort of thing in the past. Eventually I come round to it. So it's like, okay, I'll probably say yes and then trust the process as I figure out what to do after the yes. Maybe there's an opportunity to be honest with the other person and say, I really want to do this. It will just take me a little while to get my head around and absorb the elements of change that come with it. So that there's as much margin put around the yes as possible. I mean, it doesn't seem in anyone's interest to only reward speed. In fact, I think the state of the world as it is right now is testament to a failure of sensitivity in society, a failure to allow it to breathe as a natural human trait in all of us, and a failure of sensitive voices to speak truth to pace and power as we speed towards proverbial icebergs in the ocean. Notice the pause next time you're faced with an opportunity, a decision to make. Is that pause helpful or is it a hindrance in this moment? Can you play with it? If so, what can you do? I'd love to hear about your experiments with it. Maybe you've experienced this in the past and you've worked out ways to roll with it so that you are able to do the things that matter most to you. Maybe there are things that you're going to try out now Either way, leave a comment below and let me know whether this is something that you recognise and have explored yourself.